Hello, everyone. Welcome to GM Joel's Chess Week Recap on ICC. This week, we have a Karpov sighting in Cap Dagd and an American success at the World Youth in Batumi. Anatoly Karpov has been an infrequent competitor for the last several years, but he enjoys rapid chess, and the annual event in Cap Dagd has actually come to be called the Karpov Trophy. I had the privilege of playing there in Capdag in 2000. It took the edge off watching the Mets lose the World Series to the Yankees and being left off the Olympic team while I was reigning U.S. champion. And there I got to play Karpov in the prelims, and I made a draw at a time when it wasn't terribly difficult to do, especially with white, but still it felt pretty good. I was eliminated in match play by Mikhail Gurevich, who later upset Karpov to take first place. So many years later, the tournament is now named after Karpov. It's called the Karpov Trophy, and I think this is the fifth year where that's the case. This year, the field featured half female players, half French GMs, and Karpov. Karpov's play was up and down, naturally, but he proved opportunistic in this game against ATM Bacrot, and that's what we're going to start with. So Bacrot playing white, Karpov playing black. And Karpov always was a classical player. E4, E5 was his main defense. Also dabbled in the Caro-Kann. And so the Joko piano has become quite fashionable at the highest levels. That's an opening that really is played on all levels. And since the Berlin defense is so difficult to beat on the high levels, the Joko piano, as it's played these days, maybe provides a little bit more opportunities to maneuver. So C3, knight f6, and of course the grandmasters don't think that d4 leads to very much. I did actually write about that in the upcoming New in Chess yearbook column, but still d3 probably provides more long-term chances. Okay, castles, everybody castles. D6, and now Bacrot plays this in a very fashionable way. Previously, people would retreat the bishop to B3 to get out of the way of attacks of the knight, and they'd play moves like H3, Rook E1, Knight D2, etc. One of the big new ideas is A4, and sometimes this move is played without C3 at all, which is, I guess, is one reason why the move order of white castling on move 4, playing D3 without C3 at all sometimes. A4 has a few points to it. The first sneaky but rather important idea is that B4 is threatened to grab the bishop. So black will have to meet that. Of course, it's not a big deal to play A5 or A6. Black could do either one. If he plays A5, okay, then the B5 square he has to look out for. And so now the bishop doesn't have to retreat to B3 because if it's attacked, it can come back to A2. So white is trying to save a tempo there. Another idea is that the knight can often come to A3 and C2 and support D4 or get to E3 without having to move the rook. And then we see a kind of a third point that's cropped up is that after A6, bishop G5, and like I said, this has been a fashionable idea. It's one that injects a bit of life into the position. It's a little double-edged because that bishop can end up in a not very good position after it's kicked. There's always the possibility that black will play G5 and that bishop may be forced to G3, will be biting on granite. But a lot of white players take this risk because they could get some tactical opportunities, or they feel that they can get D4 in very quickly now, having saved the tempo, moving the bishop. So this is kind of important line on the top levels these days. Okay, so Karpov plays Queen E7, and now the knight actually comes to D2 in this case. Bishop A7 getting out of the way of D4, and King H1, a very interesting